Okay. All my bloods gas just to look a little cooler. Pull up in an Uber just to look a little cooler. Hung out with the...
Welcome to Chronic Conversations. It's your girl, Mary Jane.
And your girl, Talissa.
And Gabby G. Today we have a special guest, Hector Sabido. He is a part of the city council.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Nice to have you today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor. I've been keeping up with you guys, and so you ladies, I should say.
Yes.
And so it's an honor to be in this chair today.
Yeah, we're really excited to have you here today.
Oh, you're too kind. Well, you know what? Anything I can do to help and get the word out how much I love the city, and especially South Waco, it's an honor to be here. So thank you.
This is going to be a great one.
Well, you do so much more than just the city council. You also have you do like a couple of radio stations, right?
So I'm the general sales manager of 4 radio stations here in the Central Texas area. So we cover not only Waco, but Temple, Killeen, and Hillsborough, Hill County, and all surrounding areas as well. Waco City Council, but for sure my most important job and the one that I love the most is being a husband and daddy to 2 little ones that I get to go home at the end of the day with too.
Yeah, I see that. They're adorable.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You know, they are a handful. We were talking earlier, there's never a dull moment with them. Completely different personalities. The little girl is the sassy one and, all in your face. My wife says she's more like me. And then our other one, our son Jeremiah, is more like his mom, more laid back, chill, and it takes him a while to warm up, but once he's there, he opens up to you.
Yeah, well, we all got kids, so we relate.
Yes. So you know that.
And they're not always the same.
And you don't get to sleep a lot, So we're grateful for coffee or whatever you can get through the day, and some naps that you can sneak in the car in between appointments.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay, so being a city councilman, is that something you always wanted to do?
I'll be honest with you, Mary Jane. It was I really was intrigued by government in high school. And I realized that, local policy is a policy that affects us the most. I mean, there's a lot of attention on national elections, presidential elections, even governor, but local policy is what affects us the most. And growing up in the public world or in the local public office, there was no one that looked like me or you or any of us, And so that kind of fueled my passion a little bit for it. As I was, going through school and everything, I started to see a little bit more people that had the same color skin that me, the same color of eye colors like me, and so they spoke Spanish like I did, and so I was trying to, maybe it is something that is achievable, and so to answer your question, I've been wanting to do it for a while, but it was just really finding the opportune time to take advantage of it, and so about 4 or 5 years ago, my wife and I decided to just go for it because it's a team effort. I won't do it without her. I need her support. She handles business at home while I'm out doing city council meetings and other things. And so it just happened that everything fell into place. And so I just got re-sworn in this past month.
May 11th.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yes, May 11th for my second term. So thank you.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well deserved. And your wife, she was actually running for the
school board. Representing South Waco as well.
And she was pretty close.
She was close, not close enough, but her love for the school district and her love for community hasn't changed, and so she's still actively involved in numerous boards or nonprofits, and so we stay busy between the both of us.
Right, definitely. I do want to tell you thank you because I haven't seen you in person in a while, but you did a major contribution to our egg hunt, our Easter egg hunt. I was planning across the street from my shop in that little field, that Casey field, and Hector was the one who said, bring it to South Waco Center and you will have restrooms. And it was like such a better choice. And then I didn't have to get the city permit and all this extra stuff. And I was like looking forward to it, but I was a little overwhelmed at the same time. And I was like, it's okay, God, I'll pay for it. I'll do whatever I'm supposed to do, right? Because not only did I need a city permit, but then it was like the health department was getting involved. It was like all this.
There's a lot of permits that are involved.
I just want to say down a couple weenies and that's it.
And just the Easter egg hunt, let's make it simple here.
Yes, and then it got bigger and bigger, but once I seen the crowd, I was like, yes, this was way better to have it here. And then even having the park on site, it had all the kids busy as well. So I do want to say thank you because
no thanks needed,
that was
friend.
a blessing.
I'm a firm believer that when we have women and men in our community that want to give back to the community, it should be easy to do.
Right.
And so if I can help in any way to make the process easier, then so be it. Because, I mean, I love to see our community giving back to the community that we grew up in, that we're from. We don't forget how we grew up, or our roots. And one day, a little boy, little girl that attended that event is going to do the same thing that you're doing, just for the next generation to come.
Right, exactly.
So that's what it's all about.
That's what's up.
That's a good point. So we have a segment, and it's called Tips with T, right?
Okay.
So I just want to know, or I think we all want to know, do you have what tips do you have for anyone out there that is maybe thinking about taking the same path that you're, that you're currently in now? Like, what tips would you give to anyone out there that's just watching and they might not have the courage to do it, or they just maybe they think they can't?
Sure. The biggest tip that I would give someone is just go for it. I think a lot of us, some of us might think, well, I'm not qualified to do that. I don't have the background or the education. But you know what? In truth be told, none of us do. And it's just a matter of taking that step and going for it. We learn along the way. We're going to make mistakes. I still make mistakes to this day, but we learn from it. And it's go for it. If there's a desire in you to want to do it, then more than likely, I would say my faith says God is calling you to do it, and he's tugging at your heart to do it. Yeah. Right. So go for it. I mean, he could have chosen anybody else, but he chose you, and you will never know the outcome unless you do it. And you don't want to live with what if I should have done that, or what if I missed my opportunity. And so just go for it, and don't be afraid. Doesn't matter, where we come from, doesn't matter what we look like. I think the biggest thing is our heart for our city and our community. And so if you have that, I would say go for it. And I hope anyone listening to this, if they are interested, reach out, please, because I would love the opportunity to bring that next person along. I think that's very important.
So y'all, you heard it. Put your best foot forward.
Yes, right? Go for it. And we need more people like us on city council. We need more people like us at the state level. We need more people like us at the national level. And so if not for us, let's do it for our babies that are watching us and the generation that's coming up behind us. And they're going to see people that look like them. And hopefully that's going to motivate them to want to carry it forward as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Hector, what was growing up in Waco like for you?
It was a little different, I would say, only because, I think a lot of people can relate to my story. My parents are immigrants from Mexico, and so I'm a first-generation American. Growing up in a household where Spanish was my first language, I remember going to school, starting kindergarten, and back then, I'm going to show my age, back then there were no ESL classes, so they just stuck all of us in English-speaking classes, and I remember I would go home crying because I didn't understand what my teachers or the students were telling me in my class. And so I was like 5, 6 years old, going home crying, telling my parents I didn't want to go to school because I didn't know what they were telling me. But I just learned the language. And so, even growing up in Waco, I saw, it was a shocker to me. Going to University High School, shout out, UHS. There you go. Once a Trojan, always a Trojan. Going to university, I mean, there were majority of the students in the school looked like me. So when I went to college, it was completely different. I mean, there was hardly anyone that looked like me. So it was definitely a culture shock, even though it was here in our own backyard, Baylor University. But in the end, I mean, I just had to know that I had the opportunity before me and I had to make the best out of it. And so I was very fortunate to, and I've seen Waco transition to see where downtown was nothing, to what it is now. I mean, Waco's one of the most visited cities in the United States. And still growing, and still people coming in. And whoever thought that Waco would be like that? Yeah. Or to see different local businesses that are popping up that are outside of just Mexican restaurants. But now you have, bakeries, and you have coffee shops that are all people of color owned. And I think that's what makes Waco beautiful and unique, is the diversity that we have here. Yes, ma'am. The
I've
diversity.
seen you cutting ribbons left and right, cutting ribbons everywhere at all these like dirt construction sites, right? So like, what is something that you are most excited that's coming to Waco?
You know, I would say probably one of the biggest things that I'm excited about is, of course, Amazon is a big deal.
Yeah.
But let me tell you why to me it's cool is because they're going to employ over 1,000 people from Waco, starting them at $15 an hour, which is
great.
life-changing for some people. You know,
Right.
when you take someone that's making minimum wage and all of a sudden you double their salary to $15 an hour, I mean, you think about the generational poverty that they can break
Right.
with that type of
Right.
opportunity. And so there's numerous companies that are coming like that the city is incentivizing to come, but there's a requirement of what they have to offer their employees as far as minimum wage and benefits and things like that. And so imagine your family, your coworkers, your neighbors working in a place where they have insurance,
Right.
and they can take their kids to the doctor, and that just creates a better opportunity of life for them. That, and of course, I will say I'm very excited about the redevelopment of the Floyd Casey area.
Right.
So I'm very, fingers crossed, later this year they will be breaking ground. And so you don't get an opportunity to create new neighborhoods in the city,
Right.
within the city limits. And so I'm very excited that we have that opportunity in South Waco while still giving a nod and paying respect to the surrounding areas and still having that south side flair to it.
Yeah, I've
Right.
been wondering what they were going to
Yeah.
do with that
This has
space.
been
It's been
sitting
like,
there.
yeah.
It's been like that for a few years. I mean, since the old stadium was knocked down, and so I mean, over the past year and a half, of course, COVID put a little kink in the plans. You know, had to put a halt on it. But now that we're back in full force, I mean, the plans are moving forward, and so like I said, hopefully later in the year you'll see the groundbreaking on it, and then there'll be a park area as well for our students to entertain and have their have baseball fields and football fields and bringing Southern back to the heart of South Waco. So I'm very excited about that.
Right. I have my shop is right
Yep.
across the street from
Yes,
the
ma'am.
field, and I have like this beautiful view because it's empty and the sun goes down
Yep.
right there, and it
Uh-huh.
just changes the skies all different colors. But I always be like, let me enjoy this now because I know that development's coming and it's gonna be
Yeah.
all
It's
this
not
gonna
gonna
be
be there
different.
Probably this time next year you'll see a lot more activity going on there.
They gonna block the view.
Yeah. but it's also going to be an opportunity for local businesses
Right.
to put more businesses there. And I'm a huge proponent of local people starting their own business. I love that. I love to see, entrepreneurs living out their dream and setting a standard for their family. I'm all about, setting the standard for the generation to come, and our local business owners like you ladies are doing that. You're doing that.
Yes.
All right, so I have a question.
Yes.
I know the first time I ever seen you at Mighty Wind.
Yes.
So you were a pastor there. So
Yes.
are you still pastoring, or you just?
I'm not a pastor anymore. I have to say that there is a time and a season for everything. And right now, I think I really feel that my calling is to be in the community. Still believe in God, still go to church and everything. But I believe that, ministry can be done outside of the four walls of the church. I think that's just as important. And so even when I get an opportunity at city council or social gatherings or anything, it's very important to me to still live out my faith. Right. And so I still, preaching is still near and dear to my heart. And I have...
You were good.
Oh, thank you, Jesus. But, I have people that I look up to that I still listen to that I'm like, man, they got it going on. And so, but for this season, I really feel that our ministry, my family's ministry time it's in the community right now in the city.
That's cool. A lot of people don't know this about me, but I'm a PK kid.
All right.
Yeah, so
I love it.
My grandparents were pastors.
Okay.
So that I
So
relate to that.
right,
Yeah,
right.
like even though you say you're not pastoring anymore, it's still there. You know, it hasn't went away.
Absolutely.
I've always felt like that too growing up because I don't go to churches, like I should. Y'all know that. But
It's okay.
But it's always there with me. I know what I was taught. I know
There
it
you
was
go.
Believe me,
instilled.
she be preaching to me.
There you go.
I know it.
That's what it's about. That's what it's about.
She be preaching to me.
It's instilled in you, right? And I'm sure you're instilling it to your kids as well. So we don't have to be in church or hold a position in church. I mean, that's all great. Please don't.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's all good stuff. But we could still do God's work outside of the four walls. And I think
it's important to do both.
Yes, ma'am.
But especially outside.
Yes.
Because a lot of people in the church like to put on the front like everything's good and happy, but like outside of the church is where a lot of the work needs to be done.
And we need a lot of believers that are making decisions for our community that are going to be better. We can't leave it in the hands of somebody else. We need to be out there and doing it. And so that, to me, it is ministry work. What you ladies are doing, what we do in the community, things like that, it all goes hand in hand. It's still been building the kingdom of God. It really
Definitely.
is.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yes. Okay. Another thing that we like to do on this, on this podcast is we call it Sexy 60.
Okay.
So it's like 60 seconds. Give us 60 seconds of something that you find sexy, like whether it's like whatever you think,
cars. If you think, a lot of people they're into cars.
Absolutely.
Whatever you find sexy, we want to hear it.
Yep. So I'm gonna tell you the most sexiest thing I think that exists on this earth is my wife Ilda.
Yeah,
Shout out. I love when she dresses up, and I'm not talking about like in a dress or anything, but I love when she has her hair curled, and she doesn't wear a lot of makeup, and she has jeans and heels on, and
presents it in a very
she's a classy lady,
nice way,
and I love having her on my arm when we go out to city functions and city events, and I just know that she makes me look good. And so I appreciate that about her. And then if you get to know her, her heart is even more beautiful, and so to me that's sexy. It's just being with my wife, and sometimes we'll just go out to dinner and just her and I and have a glass of wine and dinner, and to me that's that's living the life to me, and that's what I find sexy.
Right.
It is,
That's
especially when you
beautiful.
have kids. Right?
Yes, that's important. We're very grateful for family that can babysit when we want them to.
Not for real. It takes a village.
Yes, it does. Yes,
and I'm
it
recruiting
does.
some more for my village.
And there's about 15 in my family that they take turns watching my kids.
Right, you need a lot, right? See, mine's are so crazy. I got to split them up. Like, nobody wants to take both of them at one time. Like,
it's okay. When they grow up, they'll be inseparable.
Right?
When they grow up, they'll be inseparable.
That's so funny. Okay, so being on the city council, I can tell you right now, growing up in Waco, I never met anyone on city council. Never met the mayor. I need your help on that.
We got you. I got you.
I never met the mayor or anyone on city council. So, like, for people watching who've never, like, to me, y'all are really higher up, so
we're down to earth people.
But how do we get in touch with y'all? How do we help, like, make changes in our city? Like, how do we show up to these meetings? When are these meetings? Like,
good questions.
Let us know
Great
how
questions.
because y'all are open for discussion and things like that. But a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah. We want to hear from you. We want to hear what's concerning to you. We want to hear what's important to you. We want to hear what you want to see in the city happen. A lot of times people might think, well, I don't want to reach out to them because they won't listen to me. But I can tell you that I have fellow council members and a mayor that we want to hear from the community. And so very easy to get a hold of us. Email us. It's probably the best way. And all of our emails are found on the City of Waco's website. So it's public information. All of us have a city-owned cell phone that has our number published, so you can call us or text us. A lot of us are on social media, so it's just a matter of looking at us, looking us up and getting a hold of us. And then, of course, come to council meetings. So the council meetings are the first and third Tuesday of every month.
So twice a month.
Twice a month. We meet the first and third Tuesday of every month. They start at 2:00. And so you can come anytime you want to. And they usually are over about 7:00. So about 5-6 hours that we spend there twice a month. Yeah, it's a long time.
So is it like all the districts at this?
So we meet, so all of the council representatives, all the district representatives and the mayor all meet together twice a month on the second and third Tuesday of every month. There's an agenda that's published a few days, and we meet right at the convention center at the Bosque Theater. So, and it's open to the public. I mean, everything that we do is open. We want to be transparent. We want to make sure that people don't think that we're trying to hide anything or be shady or anything like that. And so it's open to the public, and you can come and give your feedback there and your comments, and we want to hear from you.
Okay, so this might not be the proper platform to
Go
ask.
for it, please.
I'm gonna tell you what I want changed in our
Please.
city. Well, at least one of the things.
Okay.
One thing that I find very important. I went to Seattle not too long ago, and I noticed how advanced, like eco-friendly
Yep.
they are.
Yep.
And so since I've been back, everything's been so annoying
Yes.
to me. Like these receipts.
Keeps talking about it, right?
Receipts. Everybody keeps printing out receipts,
Yes.
and up there they wouldn't give me a
Right,
receipt.
right.
Like it would either go to your phone or you just don't
Right,
get
they
it.
text it to
They
you or
just looked
email
at me
it.
like, "What you waiting for?" Like, because I didn't want to
Sure.
see, like, you know. So they're like charging you for bags, like, and only giving out paper bags, and you know what I mean.
Sure.
So things like that I find like very important. I learned a lot in my last semester, and like things like recycling, and I feel like one of the things a lot of people don't recycle here because you'll have to call and get another recycle bin,
Right.
and you got to pay for
Right.
it and things
It's
like
not
that.
really required.
Right. There you go.
And I feel like it should be. It
Uh-huh.
should be required for us to recycle, and instead of us paying to recycle
Sure.
and have an extra bin, I feel like we should pay for not recycling. Like it
Good
should
point.
be, you know.
Very
I don't
good
want to get a
point.
fine. Let me recycle this month.
Right. If I done came by your house a couple times and your bin is empty, I know you're not
So
recycling.
something's going on here.
Right. I know you got something in there that needs to be out here.
Yeah.
You know? So things like that.
Yeah, I think that's great, Mary Jane. You know, I could tell you that here over the last, since I've joined council, I should say, we have looked for opportunities for Waco to become more environmentally friendly, more green. And that could be as anything as buying, you know, because the city of Waco has fleets and vehicles that we buy, and looking for those opportunities to buy those smart vehicles where they're not using gasoline, but they're more electric
Right.
vehicles, or even some of our city buildings having the solar panels. So we're conserving on the electricity that way. And so maybe even looking at, you know, here recently we launched a sustainable resource advisory board, which means that, you know, they're looking at all the city operations to see how we become more eco-friendly. And so I think that's a great idea. I think that's important for all of us. We want to do it. We don't. The downside of it is a lot of that stuff is expensive right now, and so we don't want to pass on the cost to the taxpayers. So we're trying to balance it out of how do we make these changes with the budget that we have and still it not impact the taxpayers' bottom line, but we want to make these changes because we realize that we need to take care of our environment. It's a real thing, you know, that the climate change is a real thing, and so we need to figure out ways as a municipality, as a city, how do we take care of our city better? And so we're looking at all those avenues, and we have an advisory board dedicated to just this specifically to give us those recommendations and to say, we went to Seattle and we saw this. How do we implement that here in Waco? Right. And so I think that's great. And so over the next couple of years, you'll see us moving more into that direction.
Yes. Well, that's one thing I wanted to.
Yeah,
just, like,
I appreciate you bringing it up.
I think it's a good idea.
Yes,
like,
I appreciate
giving me these receipts.
Save
the earth.
Or even, you know, not give out plastic bags or whatever it may be. Or I think those are good things that can be changed right away. And, you know, making sure that people are recycling. I think it's another important tip.
Right.
I have a question.
Yes.
I see that you're on a lot of committee boards.
Yes.
Like a lot.
I know, too many.
No, but I want to know, though, like, what is one of, like, your favorite ones and why?
I think one of the favorite... I hope the other boards don't get mad at me, but I'm gonna be very transparent with you guys. So one of my favorite one, or probably the most favorite one, is I chair a nonprofit by the name of Inspiración. And what we do is we work with Latino families to get them ready into the American system, education system.
I like that.
And so I think that's important to me because just of the upbringing and the experience that I had when I was in kindergarten. Yeah. And so what we do, our students and their parents come to class once a week throughout the semester, throughout the year, and we really work with the students, you know, their verbal skills, their social skills, their math skills, their reading skills, and, you know, things like that. At the same time, we're integrating their parents into the school that their kids are going to attend, so that way when their kids start kindergarten, they're already familiar with the staff and the administration, and it makes it a lot easier for them.
Comfortable.
And comfortable. And a lot of our, majority of our families, English is their second language. So we also help the moms with ESL and get them ready for the English-speaking environment. And so I would say that's probably one of the favorite boards that I serve on, because I've seen the the benefit that it has, and it just has because of my story, it has a special place in my heart for that.
And what is that called again?
Inspiración, so it's inspiration in Spanish, and we have it on the Alta Vista campus, so still in the South Waco school.
That's awesome. You know, when I was younger, I went to Brazos. I'm fluent.
Okay.
So whenever there was this one young boy that came to class, and we had a math class together, and he did not know English.
Wow.
But I was his helper, and it made me feel really good because I was able to help him.
There you
And
go.
Everybody's like, "What, Gabby?" I'm like, "Yeah, let me help my friend. That's my friend."
That's
Like,
awesome.
I was always like, any new kid,
Yep.
I was always trying to get to know them.
That's
be their first friend.
awesome.
Like, where are you from?
Yeah,
Where did
yeah.
you move? But yes, he had moved from Mexico, and I helped him.
And-
I wonder where he's at now. But I went to Brazos,
Yeah.
so it was a lot of.
But you know what?
Lot of what?
I almost guarantee you that he still remembers you
I bet he
because of the
does.
impact that you had on his life. That's meaningful to kids, especially that age when they're in elementary or junior high. That's meaningful to them, and so I'm sure he still remembers you.
Right, I hope so. Hopefully I get to see him one day and be like, hey.
So, Hector, being a city councilman, do you have any, do you know the stats on, our crime rates or anything like that? Like, is it better than before? Is it, what is it looking like?
Sure.
What's it looking like?
Sure. I'll be very honest with you guys. So over the last couple of years, prior to last year, I should say, our crime stats were going down, not only just in certain parts of the Waco, but all over the city, really. In 2020, they went back up. I mean, I'm sure you guys heard about it on the news and newspapers. We had a lot of our sons lost to, and I call them sons because they're babies. I see them as sons. A lot of our sons lost to, and daughters lost to violent crimes here in Waco with murders and things that ought not to be, which is very sad. I can't imagine being the kids' parents or their guardians or something.
Often.
It is, and it's sad and it's uncalled for, And so I will tell you that last year, even in spite of COVID, with people shelter in place, our crime stats did go up. We have this new chief now. Shout out to Chief Victorian. Our first Black female police chief in the history of Waco, Texas. And so I'm excited for her to bring ideas and things that she's learned at other departments or other cities that she's been in. And so she's been busy at work at how do we address this issue of our young people being in such violent crimes because they had their whole lives ahead of them.
Right.
Bright, smart, intelligent,
athletic,
and have their whole world in front of them. And to be lost to something like this, it breaks my heart. And so I'm hoping that we could get to the point. I think you'll always have that petty theft or, maybe some of those crimes that,
stealing.
that aren't violent. But I think we need to address our violent crimes right now because that's where we're losing our babies at.
Yes. Definitely. Any programs or anything like that we could get behind and push more for the community to know about?
One of the things that Chief Victorian is really big on, and she made a presentation to council a couple weeks ago. It's about changing the theory or the philosophy of the Waco Police Department to relational policing. So it's not police being in your neighborhood just to arrest you, but police being in your neighborhood to create that relationship with you. So when something is going down in your neighborhood or you see something suspicious in your neighborhood, you already have the police officer's phone number that you can contact, and they're there. They know that you're Mary Jane that grew up in South Waco and that you live there and
Waco, but it's okay.
Sorry.
It's okay.
but you're in South Waco now, so that, oh my goodness.
I'm never
I got you. But,
I just represent Waco now. All of Waco is me.
but you know what I mean? They have that relationship with you already, that they know that you know the neighborhood. And so I'm excited about that program to come forth. And so I would say, we need our young people to get behind that. We need us, people of color, to get behind that, because it's not about having more police to weaponize the department. Is having more police to really engage the community on what the needs are. And each community, each neighborhood has a different need.
Right.
And different neighbors, and the neighbors have a different want. And so it's really getting to know that neighborhood and the community to see how they can help the community feels safe. And I think that's very important. That's the big difference.
With our new chief, I think it looks a lot. It makes Waco look really good.
Agreed.
But do you still think we have a long way to go as far as racism in our city?
You know, I won't lie and tell you that it does not exist in Waco, because I would be lying to you. I think we have made great strides in moving forward and being more inclusive and equitable and diverse in our leadership. But it's no secret, we still have work to do. Right. We still have work to do. And I know for me, that's one of the biggest things that's on my radar is how do we go more steps? Even I'm glad that we made these steps, but we still have work to do.
Right.
And so my job is to see that work that needs to be done and figure out how the city gets there. And so I am open for suggestions, recommendations, but I can assure you and promise you and everyone who's listened to that is on my radar. Is how do we become a city that is for everybody, not just a certain group of people.
Right.
How do you feel about Juneteenth being a national
I love
holiday
it.
now?
I love it.
Right.
You were in the parade.
I was in the parade. You know, I tell you that an advancement for one, it's an advancement for all of us. And so I love that Juneteenth is a national holiday. I think it's long overdue.
Yeah, for
honestly.
Sure.
And I love, speaking of the parade, we were there this past weekend with the Syntex African American Chamber of Commerce. They did a wonderful job putting on the parade. But it was, let me tell you, I mean, yes, kids were having a good time and candy was being thrown out and it was hot. I mean, I'm not even gonna lie to you. But the beautiful thing that I noticed is that there were so many people from Waco, from all walks of life, that were there supporting the parade. And I think that to me was the most beautiful thing.
I think for it becoming a national holiday, that's awesome. But we've been celebrating Juneteenth, but this year it was a little sweeter.
Sure.
It was a lot sweeter because we've been doing this. We get ready for Juneteenth all the time because we're in Texas. But now to see like the world, well, not the world, but the nation is behind us.
Sure.
And it's like, well, welcome to the party. We've been doing this. We've been doing this.
Well, that's the thing. Texas was a trendsetter. You know what I mean? Texas was a trendsetter, and it was time for everybody else to catch up because it's long overdue.
Right.
And even though we knew about it and we knew the reason to celebrate, I think for the whole country to know now, I think just speaks volumes. And it tells you that we are making some progress. We're not where we need to be. I'll admit that, but we are making progress.
That's awesome. Okay, so do you want to ask him about the...
Yes. So we have Artist of the Week.
Okay.
So who are you currently listening to, or who is your favorite artist?
So I will tell you here lately, so my playlist is a little eclectic, I would say. So you have anything from Cardi B, you have anything from Migos, you have anything from J Balvin and Maluma, you have Los Tigres del Norte, and Energía Norteña. So it's very eclectic. You have some Hillsong in there, some elevation worship.
Okay, that's my playlist.
I'll be honest with you, like if you were to get in my car, you probably think, he's just all over the place, but that's what I like. And so right now, I will tell you Church of the City, which is, they have a song on Air One that I love right now. God Turn It Around. So that's definitely on my playlist, on my top list. And then there's a song by J Balvin out right now, which is also on my top right now. So those are the two probably things that music songs that I get into that get me going in the morning or during the day as I'm working.
All right.
So being all around Superman, right? How do you balance all this out? Because I know what it's like, but I want to know from you if you can give me any more tips.
It's tough, man. I'll be honest with you, it's tough. But I would tell you that I made a determination that my family comes first.
Right.
So anytime they need me, even though I have all these other commitments, if there's a time where my family needs me, that comes first. First and foremost, before work, before city, before nonprofit work, my family comes first. And then, of course, it takes I have a wonderful, wonderful secretary at the city of Waco. Shout out to Sindra, who keeps my calendar intact, and she keeps it on point, and so that it takes tremendously. So she'll tell me, "Here's your calendar for the day, and please don't be late."
What's her name?
Sindra.
That's my Sindra right there.
Yeah, Sindra. So shout out to Sindra. She keeps me on point there.
Yes, we could not do it without her.
No,
right?
not at all. I mean, and then of course it's just a matter of just finding what's important, what really is important. I think for me, sometimes I get so caught up and want to say yes to everything,
Right.
because I want to make an impact, but I also realize that I'm only one person, and so I have to pick what I think I can have the most impact on.
That's where the balance comes
There
in.
you go. And then where the balance, and then there's other things that I could possibly pass along or give other the opportunities to really step up and let them shine as well. I think I'm a big proponent of that my job is to let other people shine.
Oh, yeah, I love that.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
So family man, councilman, church man,
Radio man.
Radio man.
you wear a lot of hats.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. And also Netflix, man. So on my
yeah, Netflix
downtime.
and chill. Yeah.
Netflix and chill.
That's
Man.
right.
See, he definitely balances out.
So do you sing? Do you rap? Do you dance?
So let me tell you, my whole family can either play an instrument or sing. And that skipped me for some reason. I cannot do this. I guess so. I have a big mouth.
That's awesome. So another thing I think we should do.
Please
I'm
let
just
me
throw
know.
this out
Please
there.
do.
Okay, so an idea that just popped in my
Okay.
head right now.
Let me have it.
I'm giving it to you right now. This episode.
Fresh off the press.
Right, off the dome. No, okay. So what I want to see is the city council, Chronic Conversations, maybe the police department,
Okay.
and the community,
Okay.
all in one event, and we do something. Because, like I said, growing up, I never met a
Sure.
councilman. I never met anybody in the city government.
Sure.
So I feel like we should get a lot of kids
Okay.
somewhere where they could meet all of our city government.
Like
love
a
it.
meet and greet.
Right, the
Yes,
city,
and
even police officers, like something to, maybe a back to school or something in
I love it.
between Christmas, something where we get all these kids together and we get our city police, our city councilmen, and of course us.
I think we all feel
we can host it.
There you go. There you go.
so divided,
Yep.
Right.
right? It would feel like everybody's kind of coming closer
For the
together.
same goal.
Yes.
Exactly.
Right.
And
So
just shaking hands.
Okay,
Yep.
Miss
You know what
Off
I mean?
the Dome.
I'm just saying, I think that would be beautiful because we want to know more police
Sure.
officers that care about us
Sure.
and not just, be
love it.
afraid. A lot of us are traumatized. I know I'm traumatized.
Right.
Well, I got reasons to be traumatized, but at the same time, nobody wants to feel like that when they see a cop car. Nobody
Absolutely.
wants to
There you
feel
go.
like they have to feel unsafe.
Right.
Like, so if we can get some familiar faces,
I
get to
agree.
know some
I
people,
love
especially see their heart, because
love it.
when they see, these cops do care, or they do smile, or
Yep.
they do play basketball
Yep.
with kids, and things like that. I think that'll be awesome.
I tell you what, let's do it.
Let's do
One
it.
condition.
One condition.
It's in South Waco. That's my only one condition.
I'm with you.
Thank you.
Handle all the way.
I don't know. We asking north and east side to come to south.
I still live in South Waco.
Now, see,
No,
because
but-
this is
We the trendsetters over here.
That was my idea, so I think I should take my pick. Let's just do it downtown.
No, I'm joking. No,
Common
we could.
ground.
I love that idea. Let's do it.
Yeah, I
Let's
think
make it
that'll
happen.
be an awesome thing for the community, for the leaders in the
Yep,
community.
I think so.
And we can get to, even their parents are going to come and get
Yep.
to meet, people that they've never seen before.
I love it.
Yeah.
So let's get Waco PD, council, of course, you beautiful ladies, and then maybe even some firefighters in there as well, and some of our city management staff so they can see the ins and outs. And I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, I think so. Get some kind of event with
Local
the kids.
business owners too.
Yes.
That way they're familiar, with the police as well. And the police are familiar
Absolutely.
with them.
I like
Yeah,
it.
I think so. I think that.
All right.
Okay.
We'll work on
do
it.
it.
We'll
do
work on it. Mark our words.
Anything else you want to share with us, Hector, that we can get excited for Waco, or?
I would say, just keep representing Waco the way we do. Even last year, as the, of course, we saw the unfortunate death of Mr. George Floyd, and there was all these protests going on throughout the city, and there was even protests here in Waco, but Waco did it with such class
Oh yes.
and such grace, and nothing got out of hand, and the point was still got across. And
Right.
that is one of the many times that I look back at my city and said, man, we did that. That made us proud. And
We
so,
did that.
yeah, we did that. And keep doing that. You know, keep standing up for what you believe is right and wrong. Draw the line between right and wrong, but also you do it where people will hear your actions more than they hear the words that are coming out of your mouth, if that makes sense. Yeah. And so, Waco, keep being you, please. Waco, keep being the great city that you are. And I think it's all of our opportunity and responsibility to push our city forward.
Yes.
Definitely. That was good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. I know I said I was going to be but I got one more question.
Let me have it.
How do I get into the Alico? And what is going on in the Alico?
You know what? I'm trying to figure out how to get into the Alico. That's a good question.
Since you're here, how do we get in there? How do we get in there?
You know, you would think that I would have access with the city parking lot being across the street.
Right.
But I don't even have access to it. So I'm really trying to figure out what's going on there.
Can I knock on somebody's door over here? 'Cause I need to get in there. I need to see what's up there.
Call the receptionist or something.
Yeah,
I'm sure somebody. Oh my goodness.
It's hard to get in that place, even through phone.
Where's the mayor? Call the mayor.
Yeah. If it makes you feel better, I don't even have access.
It makes me feel a lot better that you don't know
I don't even have access to it.
Soon as they let us in there,
we're in.
All right, when one comes, we all gonna come.
Yeah, we all coming.
All right, Hector. Well, thank you so much
Thank you for having
coming.
me.
Y'all follow Hector on all social media sites.
Thank you.
And vote again. Look,
Please.
keep him in the city councilman.
Please.
Yes.
I want to keep making you guys proud.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you so much for everything you do for
Thank
our city,
you.
and
thank you.
let's get this event started. Let's
All
get
right.
it going,
I love it.
so we can get it popping in our city.
Thank you again, ladies. It's been fun.
Thank you. We out. Peace.
Out with the dealers, hung out with the shooters. I started getting molar just to look a little cooler. My teeth from the jeweler just to look a little cooler. My feet a little newer just to look a little cooler.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.